Most of you probably had a pretty normal day yesterday, but us Xenoblade fans, I don't want to be overly dramatic, but what happened is it's kind of hard to talk about. We're not really feeling it. Yeah, if you're unaware, yesterday Nintendo released pre-orders for a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition that was exclusive to their online Nintendo store. And would you be shocked to hear that Nintendo, the company that just discovered built-in Ethernet ports last year, did something online and it was a total shit show? I want to start by saying this is something many people were anxiously anticipating, not just because it's a Nintendo Collector's Edition. We've seen how crazy these things can get with any of Nintendo's games. Like if you tried to get the Metroid Dread Collector's Edition, that was nuts. Nintendo's collector stuff is always in high demand because it's kind of a rarity. It's kind of unusual, actually, compared to other companies, how few, like, collector's editions Nintendo does. So it is kind of an event when they do one. But it wasn't just about this being a Nintendo game, or even necessarily just because it was Xenoblade. If you're not aware, this is something they've been doing with all the Switch Xenoblade releases, having these big box special edition. There was one for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as well as one definitive edition. So people are collecting these now, right? If you bought the other two, there's probably a good chance that you want to try to get this one and keep your collection complete. So for that reason, you had a lot of people eager to grab this and maintain a full set. So Nintendo puts out this tweet 2 days ago telling everyone to get ready because tomorrow's the big day. They're going to release this big special edition. The next day comes and Nintendo puts out their tweet announcing, pre-orders are live. Here's the link. Go get them, boys. And the site pretty much exploded immediately. They had this loading screen waiting room type thing that was the standard don't reload or click off the page because you'll lose your place. So people were making sure they stayed put. Some people randomly would get kicked, receiving the infamous Wario image just to rub it in. The site would also randomly go into like a maintenance mode. Just an absolute disaster. Nintendo was in no way, shape, or form prepared for this event. They did come out pretty much immediately to say the site was experiencing high traffic and there were problems, which was nice to get that notification early on that they're acknowledging there's problems. They're going to work to resolve it. But notice the timestamp for this tweet, 10:57 a.m. Because these issues continued to go on. People, again, spamming those waiting rooms, getting kicked, coming back, not having a clue what's going on until Nintendo put out yet another update. Basically just reaffirming that they're aware people still can't get in. And that tweet came out at 8:49 p.m. So they had people scrambling to try and get in to buy this stupid game for 10 hours without any real updates. For a company like Nintendo, really for any company, but especially one this big, this shit is absolutely not acceptable. Again, this is something they should have been anticipating. There's always high demand for their collector's editions. But even more damning, like I said, there have been previous ones for Xenoblade, so this is something we've already established. And the previous ones were made available at other major retailers. They weren't exclusive to Nintendo's shitty online store. And believe it or not, they were much easier to pick up. I have both of them. I think I got them both from Best Buy. Had absolutely no problem getting them myself. Didn't have to be like Sonic Fast to pre-order them. And clearly didn't have to waste an entire fucking day trying to pre-order them. So Nintendo, in their infinite wisdom, took something established that worked, threw it in the garbage, opting for this disastrous route instead. Like many things this company does, it doesn't make any sense to me. Now, some people were able to get the game by the end. There was actually some ridiculous workaround that people discovered, allowing them to kind of bypass that broken waiting room system. Like you could find the game on the site and like add it to your wish list, and then you went to your wish list, you had to click learn more, and that would bring you to the store page to buy the game. A lot of people I saw got it that way, and I'm not saying, if you did that, there's, anything wrong with taking advantage of that from the buyer's perspective. Like, yeah, we're all sitting here scrambling, trying to get this game whatever way we can. So if you see a workaround, yeah, go for it. But it's just another failure on Nintendo's end, in my opinion, when it comes to this whole process. Like, you had people sitting here infinitely in this waiting room just getting nothing, and other people are able to do this workaround and buy the game. It's just so ridiculous. And certainly to no one's surprise, scalpers are hitting it big after this debacle. These special editions are, of course, showing up on eBay. I've seen them selling for ridiculously high prices, easily fetching in the $300 range already. I think last I checked, in terms of ones available, they were asking like over $400. So scalpers for the special edition are trying to nail you for well above the price of an actual Switch system, which is just fantastic. Yeah, it's a fantastic reason for the death penalty, if you ask me. But fear not, because Nintendo did come out and state they are going to make more of these special editions available at a later date. So at least if you are desperate, if you absolutely have to get this special edition, do not give in to the scalpers. You're going to get another opportunity to buy it. And after what a complete failure this release was, I hope Nintendo is going to prepare appropriately. Like, now that you've had this initial nightmare run its course, you know what the demand is like. They've done this before with Xenoblade Chronicles games and had it run smoothly. Again, it's just when they don't run it, it runs much better. So whatever the argument may be for why this happened, it's not a good enough excuse. And really the only thing they can do now is again, have the second release and have it run much smoother than it did this time. I mean, there's no way at least they could really have it run worse. So at least coming off of this, the bar is set incredibly low, but you should be making it up to people. Like, you should make this process much easier. Take whatever your initial number was, however many of these you were going to sell, and times it by like 10. Because it's like the more you sell, the more money you're going to make. Nintendo doesn't make any more money when losers, the absolute worst our society has to offer, resells this stuff on eBay. Like, if you know you can sell 50,000 collector's editions, why not just make that money? These also, to be clear, don't include crazy, like, statues or anything. That obviously companies, make less of those when they have really obnoxious, like, ultimate collector's editions. You're going to have a really low print run of those. But I mean, we're talking about like an art book in a steelbook case, basically. So I don't see a reason that you can't overproduce this by a lot. You had thousands of people willing to hit your site all day for 10 hours straight. I mean, think about how many would be willing to buy this if it was just as easy as, rolling up and clicking a few screens and boom, you got the game. And they're really going to have to over-prepare, because I think now with how crazy this all was, it ended up being a bit of a saga. Nintendo Store was trending with people freaking out not being able to get in. There are all sorts of memes circulating about this disaster. So now I think a lot more people are paying attention to this, certainly in the scalper realm. When these dregs see $300 plus resales, they're going to be even more mobilized for the second round. So yeah, you should be going extra hard with the print run. Make enough for all the fans to easily come and get it, and let the scalpers also buy them and have them sit on them because there were enough to go around. To me, that would be the good ending for the story. All of us fans are able to buy the special edition easily without a big struggle, and so are the scalpers, and since everyone was able to buy it easily, no one's trying to buy it off them for a markup, so they're stuck with it. Fans win, scalpers lose, always a good way to do business. But again, that is being optimistic. We are talking about Nintendo here, so I'm not holding my breath for any of this to play out that way. I think the safe assumption is that the second round will be just as bad. Perhaps, like I said, it's going to be worse because it's going to attract more attention after this chaos. Maybe after this is all said and done, Nintendo will decide that it's not worth it for them to handle it themselves. They'll go back to letting other retailers handle these sorts of collector's editions, special editions. That's realistically probably the best thing we could get out of this. Yeah, Nintendo, the more you let other people handle your shit for you, the better. You guys clearly, selling a video game it's just too hard for Nintendo. I mean, you expect this poor billion-dollar company who's only been in this industry since before most of us were born to be able to sell a video game on their own? I mean, you guys are expecting way too much. Anyway, with that, this video's a wrap. Just wanted to point it out to people who maybe not have been following it, maybe not even aware of what went down yesterday. So now if you see people bitching about this special edition release, you know what they're talking about. And for those of us who are going to have PTSD over the whole ordeal, going to see that waiting room screen in our nightmares, we can all mourn this lost day we'll never get back, together at least. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Special Edition release disaster in the comments. Were you one of the masses trying to get the game for almost 10 hours? Are you one of the lucky few who managed to get one? And do you plan on participating in that second release round? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.